Thank you.
Дорогие друзья, добрый день. Я должен вам сказать, что сегодня у вас есть уникальная возможность, потому что такие гости, несмотря на большое количество очень интересных людей, которые посещают наш университет, но такие гости приходят к нам далеко не каждый день, приходят к нам не часто. У нас сегодня в гостях Милан Панич. Вот если попытаться охарактеризовать эту личность, наверное, нужно будет упомянуть сразу несколько факторов. Югославия 90-х годов прошлого века. Вот наш сегодняшний гость, человек, наверное, пожалуй, один из наиболее компетентных экспертов той политической ситуации, которая сложилась тогда в Югославии, и человек, который прекрасно понимает истоки тех непростых событий, с последствиями которых мы имеем дело сегодня. Человек, который из маленькой компании, стартовавшей, не имевшей никакой поддержки на своем старте, создал одну из крупнейших компаний на фармакологическом рынке, ASEAN Pharmaceuticals, которая в 90-е годы контролировала примерно четверть российского фармацевтического рынка. Человек, вы сегодня в этом сможете убедиться, очень обаятельный, с потрясающим кругозором, и маленький такой штришок. Вот только что, пока мы ожидали начала этой встречи, господин Панич взял в руки свежий номер «Международника», увидел Жукова и вспомнил о том, как, будучи молодым совсем человеком, участвующим в сопротивлении, видел нашего легендарного маршала Победы. Вот такой гость у нас сегодня в гостях. Попрошу вас поприветствовать Милан Панич. И наш профессор Сергей Петрович Грузнов, которого хочу на самом деле искренне поблагодарить, потому что именно благодаря Сергею Петровичу господин Панич сегодня нас посетил. Сергей Петрович, как вы знаете, кроме того, что он профессор нашего университета, преподаватель кафедры международной журналистики, человек, который прекрасно знает Югославию, если не ошибаюсь, говорит на всех балканских языках, кроме албанского. Или албанский вы тоже уже успели выучить?
Нет, лучше я скажу, что я не знаю албанский.
Хорошо. Так что просьба сегодня по-албански вопросы не задавать нашим уважаемым гостям. Давайте начнем. Я попрошу Сергея Петровича для начала выступить, потом попросим Милана Панича, и у нас будет время на вопросы. Мы должны закончить в течение часа?
Да.
Да. Прошу вас.
Дорогие друзья, я счастлив здесь видеть и своих студентов. Хочу вам сказать, что счастье, которое ко мне приходит, когда я вижу своих студентов, началось для меня в бывшей Югославии, где я работал заведующим бюро Российского информационного агентства «Новости». И мне посчастливилось тогда, в начале 90-х, встретить господина Панича, которого по трагической ошибке диктатор бывшей Югославии Слободан Милошевич пригласил на работу в качестве премьер-министра как самого богатого серба, живущего вне границ Югославии. Он тогда уже был мультимиллионером, основателем и владельцем крупнейшей фармацевтической компании на западном побережье США. Но не в этом дело. Господин Панич прекрасно все понимает по-русски, но мы с ним друзья уже много лет, поэтому я не постесняюсь сказать, что я очень неравнодушен к этому человеку, потому что он меня восхищал и восхищает во всем. В бизнесе, в политике, в его отношении к жизни. Ну, так в скобках скажу, что его сыну 9 лет. Во всем он добивался победы. Всегда. Он потерпел только одно поражение в жизни, когда проиграл президентские выборы в середине 90-х годов, проиграл Слободану Милошевичу. Но у него не было шансов тогда, и он вынужден был тогда покинуть Югославию, но объединял сербскую оппозицию, которая в конце концов довела ситуацию в бывшей Югославии до логического конца. Милошевич кончил там, где он должен был кончить, в Гаагском трибунале. И о том, что так произойдет, премьер-министр Панич сказал об этом впервые публично в 1994 году, что было себе представить невозможно. Вот для начала, а теперь я хочу слово предоставить премьер-министру, который сегодня вновь возвращается, приняв стратегическое решение снова инвестировать в российскую промышленность. Завтра мы подписываем, потому что мы снова работаем вместе, договор с Чубайсом, с корпорацией Роснано, но, впрочем, об этом подробнее расскажет сам господин Панич. Пожалуйста.
Thank you. Sergey, do I have to stand?
No, please sit.
I hope you don't mind. I'll do the sitting. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you, Sergey, for your explanation about me. My reason for coming to see you very specific. I think that the future truly belongs to you. So speaking to the old-timers, it does not produce much of results. You can't change or train old dogs new tricks. The world belongs to young people. And so I hope that I will leave a little influence on you, how to see the world, which you haven't seen because of experience I had. The experience which I had is good, but not all happy. Experience starts when I first met Russians who were Second World War. Very, very bad experience, especially because, like many Russians, I ended up in war when I was only 14 years old and in army. It was not the army, it was partisans. So the Germans can kill you according to rules of killing. What a intellectual disgrace for this world or your world to have the war, the laws how to kill. There is a legal way to kill and illegal. If you're a partisan, you can be killed. But if you are a soldier, you're supposed not to be killed. Nobody follows so-called rules of war. It was easy for me, when I was in your age, to say, when I grow up, I am not going to believe in war, because I don't know that guy over there which I have to kill, and he doesn't know me. And what kind of stupidity intellectual this is. So my first point to you, the terrible thing is war. So I come 2 days to Moscow, rockets, rockets, rockets. I don't believe in wars. I don't like rockets. I don't like any killing. I think killing is work of sub-intellectuals. The people which kill, if for any reason, something is wrong. So I don't believe in killing. But I see the rockets. And so let me tell you my first reaction. I don't like it. It's beautiful. It's nice. If I'm a soldier, it's very nice. But I don't like it. But what is good for you, I am thinking, what would be good for Russian young people about that is to remind you, forget using of rockets, but to remind you that they were necessary to destroy the sick ideas of Nazism. The people which dream how to destroy other people, which I fought. I see now a possibility of another destruction. Forget the rockets as a destruction. Think of the rockets as reminding you that it may come back again if you, young people, allow this to happen. What do you need to allow? Certain ideas of even very smart, intelligent people. Not all Nazis were stupid. Many of them use things which you are being trained, called propaganda. They train people to hate and kill. Intelligent people, sick people, but intelligent. You have to do everything, if you listen my advice, to stop that as possibility. We don't want wars. I don't want for you, and you shouldn't like them for your children. Just think that your children's going into war. How sick. Now, I am not for not defending yourself. I mean, I am not the guy religious enough to say, oh, you can kill me if you want to. No, no, no. I will defend myself. But I don't believe in that those guys allowing to exist. So under no circumstances, my view is for you to allow existence of Nazism, neo-Nazism, fascism in Russia. The Russian history is full of these kind of problems historically, and you've seen plenty of movies. That much on weapons as a only reminder that they should never be used and there should never be war. The Russia without war in the future will be a happy Russia. That much on my impression of rockets.
I'm sorry. Я хочу вам просто пояснить, что ракеты наш гость увидел, когда поселился в Ритце-Карлтоне. Это Тверская улица, дом 3. И когда мы приехали с аэродрома, мы не могли попасть, потому что шли ракеты. Машин туда не пускали. Нам пришлось возить премьер-министра в метро первый раз в жизни. Ему очень понравилось московское метро, но вот ракеты тогда он увидел первый раз.
Metro is not so bad if you know how to get in and get out. Fortunately, I had a help. It's complete.
The same situation will be this evening, you know.
Yes. But now I have experience, so I learned how to get around Moscow traffic. God, you need to solve that. But that not you. You are future diplomats. You're future journalists. Your responsibility is different. You have to make sure that what you do is for a good causes, for causes of really prosperity of the country, keeping people honest to what they do, not using propaganda for purposes of politics or anything else. Your job, in my view, is to tell the truth the way you see it. And hopefully that these professors of you are training you to do that. Wars. There are many bad things of how to get in war. And I want to address one of those. Subject which I loved before. Serb, Russian, nationalist. I am a nationalist Serb. But if you use that to create war and killing, nationalism is no good. And I ended up being in Yugoslavia. Believe or not, I am not a political guy. I am a poor little immigrant in America, Serb. Well, it's not bad being little immigrant because your future is big. There is no bad. There is nothing smaller than a little guy. So you grow up fast. So I ended up, after a lot of experience of seeing the troubles of the country, growing to that maybe justified era called communism, because it moved you from feudalism to new society. Something new is going to happen, much better than it used to be. And it always was advancement in history. So after 100 years or 2-3 generations, they will explain the role of what's happened at this time. Some of us think it was terrible bad because I am anti-communist, but some people may find out that there are some good things about it. I don't know. So I ended up in politics in Serbia. Nationalistic policy. Very nice to be nationalist, except this one was justification of nationalism to kill other people. And they were Croats. But there's same nationalistic their origin. We are all Slavs, you know, we come from Carpathy, you Russians and Serbs, we are all relative 1,000 years ago. So the Croats are same as Serbs. Macedonians are same as Slavs. Bosnians are Serbs which took Muslim religion. people justifying killing each other. I said, what's wrong with these people? That's sickening, especially with my experience of war. Here, exemplar where the nationalism was used wrongly to justify. I said, oh, bad people, Croatians. There's nothing wrong with Croatians. They were Slavs like we are. They speak same English, same language. They sing same songs, more or less same food. The language is the same. And I meet the president of Croatia, another nationalist, another sick guy. I have a Serb sick, now I have a Croat sick. And he says, Serbs and Croats is not the same. As a matter, I'm embarrassing because I'm a free man. I consider myself free, so I can get in any trouble, diplomatically or in life, fighting the city hall, they told, which you shouldn't do. I meet the president of Croatia, and he asked me, like this, lot of people meeting, very important meeting, journalists like you, and he said to me, my guy asked, are we going to speak Yugoslav, Serbian, Croatian, or are we going to speak English? He said, you speak Serbian and I'll speak Croatian. I said, well, I thought that's the same language. He said, it's not. I said, please get a translator. And everybody laughed to that. So first thing, he looked pretty sick mind. And of course, it started nothing but the troubles, discussions of the borders. How the Yugoslavia will be divided? The world did not help. There are some positive positions or role of Russia. But the world was not good to us, international community. Because I don't think they truly understood the differences. Americans, in their desire to justify support for freedom, misjudged the freedom. Because if you use concept of freedom to kill other people, oh, that's not so good. So here, the American government supporting separations of state, which they had no business doing. Because beginning of that was killing each other. That would not bring the peace by separating people. Yugoslavia used to be economically very viable country. It was as good economically as Portugal, which became part of European Union. European Union, probably the greatest achievement of Europeans in history of Europe. Europe was not so good. Germans and French were fighting forever, the tribes and so on. First time they're all together, beautiful. I said, oh my God, I never dreamed Europe can do that. So you have one of phenomenal event called European Union happen, that Germans and French, which used to forbid each other to cross the border. If you are French, you should not cross in Germany. And if you are Frenchman, artist, this and that, don't cross to Germany. So that bad. And for sure don't get married, and for sure all of these things, because we want pure Germans. You heard of that story. Germans were never pure, but they thought that they are very pure Aryans, and that was another sickening idea of the Nazis. So anyway, Germans recognize as Croatia, Croatians start to fight with Serbia, and I'm talking to President of Croatia, trying to put peace together. He says these are different countries, different languages, absolutely stupidity. The terrible thing happened to Yugoslavia to separate each other. Country was economically valuable unit. It separated into 5 units, all of them now supported by people like, even by like Russia. You are sending money to help us survive. And the country was very good in every respect as Yugoslavia. So my view for today is the separations or by nationalistic things is past. Time is now to put the countries together economically. I spoke to University of Peking a few weeks ago, and they have a little bit of Chinese nationalism starting. The known one from newspaper is Tibet. Chinese have to resolve the problem with Tibet. Chinese have to solve problem with Taiwan. And they asked me about Yugoslavian experience. And I told him, under no circumstances, the students or professors of journalism and diplomatic, but they had economists in a group, should permit that, because it makes no sense in this century to separate the countries, because most likely people will pay the price, because those small countries will live worse than when they are together because of expenses. A small country with a few million people cannot have army, cannot have diplomats, cannot have this. Pretty soon they're spending money on nothing, which is useless, instead of spending money how to help the standard of living and future of people. If the standard of living is good, you will not have ever again dictator. Every dictator started because people were poor. It's beautiful to say, oh, you are hungry because of that guy. That's a perfect idea of dictators of the past. Problems of Serbia were Croats because they are responsible for us having trouble. They're not responsible for that. That was the explanation of Milosevic why we should be nationalistic Serbs. Stupid idea. We should be nationalistic Serbs because we cook better, or we have better athletes, or we have better musicians, or we have better students. So anyway, the important issue is that nationalism can be used wrongly, but only when people are poor. Hitler succeeded because Germany was hungry, and he was blaming everybody in the world for that. Everybody was responsible, except him. He didn't have idea how to make better Germany without going into war. These ideas are finish of the future, and I hope you support that intellectually, and you support that because you believe in this. The war time of solving problems in the world through war is finished. So the great Serbia, even great Russia, great China, Chinese were very much concerned with these views because they have a little bit of problem, Tibet case, but they have other 2, 3 places, and they want to become democratic countries, so how are they going to keep together? I said, you work with them, you don't fight with them, you don't pronounce Tibetan non-Chinese. They are Chinese, everybody is Chinese. If you are not Chinese, you have a problem. And so I think any government which supports Tibet to be separated is wrong. They should be helping China accept Tibet as an equal part. That much on building big Serbia, great Kosovo, issue of Kosovo. Poor people. And poor concept of solving the issue the way they see it. Everybody wanted a border. And I'm there, I said, there will be no border, you'll be part of European unions tomorrow. So why are you killing for border when tomorrow you have to remove them? You, believe or not, they wouldn't understand that. And they wanted free Kosovo. But be free under European Union's rules, so why do you need to kill somebody to get free? You have to live together, Germans and French, no borders. They are so European smart, I should tell you. First there were customs and this and that, all eliminated. Currency eliminated. And then on the borders, they used to have flags and people, and they just salute as you pass. Now they eliminated that. You go from one country, there is no, you can put only half a meter sign. Germany, France. You cannot have flags. You cannot have people. You cannot have everything. Beautiful things for the future of Europe. Okay, I think I made my case for you that you should work on putting everybody around your country together with you economically, because it will be better life for you in Russia and much better for your neighbors, which are having all sorts of problems because they're too small. It is really, for me, so I visited Georgia. Nice people, good wine. You know, neither water or wine from Georgia is sold here, so I am drinking Italian expensive wine. You can have a very inexpensive Georgian wine. Good, even Stalin liked Georgian wine. Anyway, so that doesn't make sense. So this poor little country called Georgia needs help from people like you. So hopefully you can give him the hand and especially stop these wars. Now, Milosevic. I come over there and I ask Milosevic to resign. You can be arrogant, not smart, or maybe even stupid to ask dictator to resign because he presses the button, you're dead. But, you know, if you are idealistic, as you notice I am, you do that. And the worst thing, you know, these people like him, like Saddam Hussein, like Hitler, like all of this, they lie. So he agreed. To my shock, he's going to resign. And everything will be turned better. I'm going to try to put Yugoslavia back together, stop killing. He lied. He comes back and says, I'm not going to resign. He did worst. He told me he never said he will resign. I bring the guy who was there and said, no, you tell him. Did he say that? And the guy, Serb, takes chances and say, yes, Mr. Milosevic, you said you're going to resign. Disaster. So dictators are dishonest. Dictators use propaganda for justifying their positions, which you should never do because you have a power of propaganda. Propagandas are journalists which talk about wrong things and support these sick people. So Milosevic doesn't design. I predict, for which your professor said I am going to be in big trouble, I predicted that he will go to Hague. I even went into election. I am not a political guy. I'm not a politician. I don't even know how to make a speech, as you notice. I go from subject to subject. So how can you get votes? Popularity by Americans was 95% in Serbia when I'm going to election. I said, I don't believe it. I also don't speak that good Serbian. So basically, if you don't like me, you said you don't speak Serbian and you don't speak good English, so you really don't speak any language. If you like me, you said, oh, perfect in English and perfect in Serbian, understands the mentality. So anyway, so an amateur politician against dictator. And he used every trick, and the New York Times writes, Milosevic steals election. God help Serbs, I said. And of course, so that I don't lose my life, and I'm a chicken, since I've been in war. If you're not a chicken, you're a hero, but that hero, so I decided I'll be chicken, so I leave. So anyway, it's my idea of trying to help Serbia. I hope helped because I put opposition together, and that opposition finally took care of dictator. He went to Hague exactly as I predicted, and he finished over there. I think all Yugoslav countries will be part of Europe, just a matter of time. They're all applying, and there will be no reason for borders. It will be removed just when they signed Serbia, Croatia, and people died, and children died for nothing. Now, international community in Yugoslavia, international community and world, so that you understand my view of that. Communism, as idea, was gone. No bombs, no Star War, no atomic bombs. Bad idea, democracy. And bravo, 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 everything is good. Now, the concept of democracy wins in world. In order to teach people democracy, because totally unprepared West to help the change of systems, we bombed them. So they bombed Serbs. He said, what a sick approach of democracy, including America. I write letter to President Clinton. I said, you can't teach people democracy with the bombs, especially if you didn't bring them to democracy without bombs. Absolutely total failure of international community to help people change the system. Some of these countries of former communism ideology have paid severe price for that, because West, which promised so much, did so little to help people. Education, your school, many schools like yours, but basic education, economic changes. You can have under former system, reasonably good economy, reasonable. It's not good, but people are not hungry and so on. But the change created such an imbalance that some of the countries really went through severe economic struggle, and Yugoslavia was one, plus this nationalistic separation, plus sanctions. Sick concept. Punish people because you cannot help them change the system. And then people like Milosevic comes up, the world is wrong. Then Tudjman in Croatia comes up, says Serbs and Croats are different. Serbs are bad, Croats are good. Milosevic says Croats are bad, Serbs are good, and vice versa. So world was not ready, free world was not ready for change. Only country which appears, and I was in Peking, University of Peking, that they went through the phase of changes differently than everybody else, because they said, we'll not change politics, we'll change economy, appears to be correct. Appears to be correct. As you know, we have a new powerhouse called China. Now you in Russia, my view, now I think future, you're going to become part of European Union. 15 years ago, I spoke in European Parliament and I said, you should be thinking how to get Russia in European Union instead of telling me of the problem with Russia. They were more or less laughing. I am thinking economic union with China and Russia would not be such a bad idea. In China, I said, economic union between India and China would be masterpiece of the future of the world. You would have such a big economy that Europe will more or less be small, and America will be small. Have to come up with something new to exist in a world where 3 billion people live in one group, can control the market. So I think the best for Russians and for you is to think how to put the world together, how to become part of European Union, how to become part maybe of another economic union, because the happy Russia is a rich Russia. And lucky you have oil. You are lucky if you like it or not. If you didn't have it, you will be in real trouble, even today. Okay, that much on Serbia, on Milosevic, and on economics going. What else I'm to tell you? Because I think my 20 minutes is up. Your professor says, do 20 minutes. You can't keep attention of those students.
10 minutes more.
No, that's too long. Okay, what else I should tell you? I came, by the way, I learned a little bit about business in America, and I am studying Russian pharmaceutical market. I said to myself when I came to US, you can succeed in business. Don't forget the experience Yugoslavia. Not so good experience, not so good education, not so good education for business. Tito country. Living on loans from the West, separates from Russia. So other guys giving money just because it's good politically makes no sense. So no training. So I said, if I'm to do something good, I have to develop medicine. I have to develop medicine which nobody else did, and so we did. And if you see people shaking which have Parkinsonism, we developed medicine called L-Dopa. You heard of that? It's our patents and everything else. If people see better because we developed medicine for herpes keratitis of the eye. The children, respiratory syncytial virus, first antiviral drug was made by us for babies. Makes me feel good. And then hepatitis C, the most important for us because millions of people, especially in China, have hepatitis C. So in America, it was sort of successful. So system changes, future for Russia is coming. I see the future, and I said we have to get that market. We have to get to the Chinese market by helping Chinese people have better medicine. You know, you always have to start with a good philosophical reason, and then you support it with the business. Well, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. And if you work only for money, it's another advice for you. You have to have the money to live. But beyond that, you don't work for money. Sooner or later, you find out you work because you want to do something good. And for me, it was to make medicine. Much better than making bombs. So it was Russia. We looked the map, said 5 plants: St. Petersburg, Kursk, Chelyabinsk, Tomsk. And you know, like they teach at Harvard. You're not business students, but it's very simple. You take the market, you divide it, you put the plants, you divide on what drugs you want to produce. Except I arrived, outdated concept of medicine, totally in Russia, believe or not. Plants, now at that time, that's 20 years ago, right?
Yes.
20 years ago. Plants, we needed. I couldn't believe what you had. It was not good. But I said, I am going to contribute something to Russia, so I'm going to start cleaning it up. From toilets to machinery, to this we started. In a matter of 2-3 years, we became #1 pharmaceutical company in Russia. If you remember ICN, every 5th pill any Russian take was made by our company. I said, bravo, bravo to myself. Of course, we have done it. But it needed an enormous amount of resources, funds, to change the factories because they were not to world standards. And my idea was that we produce in Russia generic drugs and ship to Europe at very low prices, and we take from Russia the European market. But of course, if you don't have a plant, they don't let you export because there are certain rules how you make medicine. So we started this process. We called it phase 1 of changing pharmaceutical industry in Russia. And many of your people observed me do that. And we did it correctly. Where I read the newspaper, I know the corruption. It was forbidden in our company to get involved openly into corruptive. And Mr. Kruzunov observed us. I would not tolerate that. I said, somebody has to start. Now, corruption, so I'll give you a little hint on that, comes and goes. As the system progresses, and you have to help that will disappear. If the standard of living improves, it'll disappear. Case of open corruption in Mexico. I have a big Mexican company. I come, you get to custom, you give guy open $10, and he thanks you, takes $10, and nothing, everybody sees but it's corruption. Corruption can be secret, or corruption can be open. The policeman, you drive a car, he gives you the ticket, you give him $10, he thanks and goes. That's part of his salary, I learned later. One day after 20, 30 years, same guy at the custom, I always come to the same because I have my aeroplane, so I come always same custom guy. I'm giving him money, he doesn't want to take it. He said, it's finished. It's over. We have decided, all of us together, that we will not take any more things which is called bakshish, or it's a bribe, effectively. And so he says, our salaries are fine, we don't take any more money. I really almost hugged them. It was beautiful improvement, peacefully, out of corruption. Maybe for you a little more complicated than that, but it will be over, I predict. So we made a company which was #1 in Russia. If you pass through Moscow, there was ICN sign for pharmacy. We finally organized American pharmacies in Russia. I understand they still exist. And unfortunately for me, I retired, and the company was purchased by Abramovich. And let's pray that he is going to do something right. I am not sure. Because he has a different idea. He didn't come to help with the pharmaceutical company. He wants to make money. There's nothing wrong in making money unless you have some reason. And I'm not sure that I quite justify buying the football club in England. He should organize another university for international studies in Russia. Maybe he did.
Why not?
Yeah, but he's not doing that. So anyway, so now I'm going to be working with your government, which I'm so pleased, in working on next phase of pharmaceutical development. Government is upset. You have 600 factories. Only few of them are GMP, which means that the products are produced on standards which you should have. They want to change. I think that's a good idea. I want to help. So I'll be talking to Mr. Chubais tomorrow about how to help Russia change to GMP system, which should be done in a few years. They want 4 years to do that. So I'll be working on that. I'm happy to be here. I'm more happy just to see you and tell you these experiences of mine. It was done in a catch-as-can way, because I'm not a professor. I'm a poor little immigrant. I like to tell you my experiences and many more. So with this, I'd like to thank you for being so patient with me and listen to me, and I'll be glad to answer a few questions. I took too much of your time. You got to go home or have a lunch.
No, it's okay.
Well, but I should tell him. Let me tell you this now. About it was to be the same in Peking. And I made my speech many minutes shorter than here because it was written by Chinese. So you have to stick to rule. Here, your professor gave me some hints, but I didn't follow. Over there, I follow Chinese style, 20 minutes, 15 minutes questions and answers. Now, it is now 3.5 hours of answers. And I had to say, I'm sorry, I can't talk anymore. Questions were not the science. But here, I switched, as you see, very little on science. All questions were on economies, democracy, and changes to future. Very similar problems you have, they have. With a little different touch, since they still have this the zones which are democratic zones and zones which are not, which is old system. And they can't mix them because if they go backwards, they cannot do that. Except they found out they don't have enough policemen for free zones. They don't have enough judges. They don't have courtrooms. They did never have those things in that club. You know, if you do something wrong 2 days in Russia, in China, you're done. They don't have judges and they don't have lawyers. And of course, they don't have enough of journalists like you. Big problem, and they don't know how to solve it because they don't want to go back to the old China because they want old China to be like those zones because standard of living is exploding, education is exploding, roads are exploding, and the standard of living of Chinese is unbelievably going in the right direction. So they kept me 3 hours asking me question what to do, and who am I? Serbian poor immigrant telling Chinese intellectuals what to do. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, well, your questions, you're welcome. Please don't forget about microphone. You're welcome.
First of all, I would like to thank you a lot because I'm really impressed by you as a person, first of all. And I would like to ask maybe a little bit personal question, but what is the sense of life for you?
What is
the sense of life for you, personally? Thank you.
Sense of life. Okay, I'll give you an experience.
We have about 3 hours to answer you on the question.
No, it's a good one. It's good. There is in America judicial system where we have jury. Do you have in Russia jury?
You mean?
Common people judging you in court.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you have that. But I never been in front of jury.
По-русски это называется суд присяжных.
Okay. And so, first time, a friend of mine, lawyer, wants me to testify on science, on stem cell. American, Korean issue, state of South Korea. Simple for me, I'm a scientist, but I can talk on some other subjects, just as you are asking. So he makes, and there are those 12 people jury, nice people. But I'm looking and I see, I don't know how much they know. What am I going to scientifically talk to the guys which probably never heard about stem cells? So anyway, So my lawyer makes extraordinary introduction of 30 minutes, who I am, to jury. And the other guy, the opposing lawyer, famous American lawyer, after was to interrogate me, to question me, what do they call this opposite side questioning, re-exam, whatever the term is. He stands and he said, famous attorney.
Прокурор. Прокурор.
Yeah, procureur. He said, your lawyers said so much about you. Is there anything that you can tell us about you which he didn't say? God, what kind of question is that? So I said, oh, you deserve this. He said, I'll answer your question. I said to him, well, sooner or later, I'm going to meet Creator. I'll die, that's man. But in America, it sounds better. And I'm looking to jury. And I said, and I'm going to have to say to myself, what have I done? You ask me personally. Well, I save babies. Makes me feel good. I think that's a good thinking. I saved people see better because I work. People shake less because I do. And millions of people took drug against hepatitis C, which you have here, by the way, too. So I said, that's what I done, and that's what that guy didn't say. And I'm looking jury, they're very serious. And I turned to that lawyer and I said, why don't you tell him what you did? You got my answer? Yes, you have to do something which you believe is meaningful, because that makes the life fulfilling for you. It's not what other people say, it's what you think. And I thought it's very nice to die thinking that you helped other people. It's nothing new about that. Greeks talk about helping other people, Egyptians do. So I hope I did something good in life, helping others, not destroying life. After war, I said, for me, that concept is finished, except there were wars.
Имам политичко питanje. Какво е ваше мишленje? Дали je bio...
Говорит по-сербски.
Говорите по-српски.
Дали je raspad Jugoslavije bio neizbežan? Hvala.
No.
Перевожу вопрос.
Yeah.
Была ли неизбежна война в Югославии? Ваше мнение? И распад Югославии.
No, absolutely not. I would say that the first responsibility was of international community. You have responsibility to other people, if you like it or not. More and more, the Western world, which you are part of, and Eastern world like China, will have responsibility of solving tribal problems in Africa. There is not even nationality. I spoke about nationality as a problem. The tribes are just as bad as nationality. These are almost family gatherings, except they are in hundreds of thousands or millions. Important issue is, answer to you, no, international community was not ready to assist changes from one system to another. They had responsibility. There was a guy, I see you had a Genscher here, the American journalist like you, writes, honest. Genscher should be tried in Hague. The idea of recognizing countries legally was wrong. And he should be in Hague for that because he started it. The separation of Yugoslavia was not necessary. The help of the West was not there. The concept was not there. They didn't know how to do it. And then, of course, the ultimum disaster, teaching democracy with a bomb. Pretty sickening responsibility of the West, which did not help the countries which were so eager to be free, was not necessary. And I keep them responsible to the greatest extent. But who am I? I just can tell you that. But you remember, You can keep world responsible for wrong things. If I can, each of you can. So honesty, honesty, honesty in reporting. You report for you, not for anybody else. Consciousness.
Hvala. Well, any other questions? You're welcome.
Mr. Planic, could you please comment on the possibilities of the future Euro integration of the former Yugoslavian territories, especially given the modern economic crisis and the debates in the European Union over its possible future proliferation?
And Eastern Europe, the Southeast Europe will be part of European Union. Just question of time. Poor people having to suffer to go through these phases because of these so-called dictators. Now, the first phase of dictators is over. I try to convince Serbs and Croats to stop fighting. We have meeting, Serbian government, Croatian government, and I am a Yugoslav government. And Mr. Mesic, who is now president of Croatia, was at the meeting. He said to me now, invited me to come to Croatia. He said, we were there, we are saying, who is this guy? Something wrong with him. But he says, I talked to Serbs. They said, the guy is wrong. When I was saying, stop fighting for nothing, Prevlaka, for this, just killing. And I signed and gave piece of land to Croats. And I see them now, and he said, you are so correct that this was stupid. As you said, this is all stupid what you are fighting. Here is the document you gave us the land, and gives me back the document now saying this was foolish to do. So to make your point, is Southeast Europe going to be part of European Union? It's just a question of time. This Kosovo problem, I went to talk to Kosovars, to Albanians, talk to them, tell them, you're going to be part of Europe. There will be no borders. Killing is stupid. That you know, if you are nationalist and if you think I am guilty for your troubles because now you don't have enough food or you don't have enough money or there is no help or this and that, then it's easy to say, no, you're all wrong, which they did. I offered Kosovars and Albanians way of faster joining the European Union. I told Slovenians, Croatians, Bosnians, and Macedonians we should put together application to go to Union. First thing it says in that application, there will be no borders. First thing in application, you understand, there will be no borders. And so Europe will unite. Question is for me when Russia is going to be part of European Union. You have to be part. I mean, why would the Russian, European, you are a European country if you like it or not.
But would the European people agree, simply?
But it really doesn't matter. Do they agree or don't they agree? It's question what is right. What is good for Europe and what is good for Russia. It would be exceptionally good for Europe to be part, the Russia be European Union, economically. Just think of markets, just think of that. Russians will have more and more money to buy. Europeans can produce. Russians have oil, all of this. They can even get a bargain on oil instead of paying full price, which is being dictated by Arabs. So it makes, in my view, absolute sense that Russia joins European Union. But there is one guy, well, it starts with Yuan. Usually that guy is a leader. Usually, I am not, I'm too old for that. You will be part of Europe. But I gave you a hint. If you don't become part of Europe, you can become part of much greater economy called China. It's not so easy, those things, but it's coming. Something good is going to happen to you. All you need to do is to pray.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sergei Petrovich, do we have time for another couple of questions? Or
Yes.
Yes, we do. Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Mr. Panic, you've said a lot about brevity, about honesty, and other positive features of a human being, but at the same time, everybody knows that global policy is based on such things as military power, economic deals, and other features which are not so naive and which are so practical, I would say. And do you think that a person, a politician who can combine positive features such as brevity and honesty and the wish to defend his nation with military power exists? And can you name such a person in the history or maybe in real life today? And do you think that global policy can be ruled by such, so to speak, a little bit naive people, a little bit naive politicians?
Like Milan Panic.
No.
Yes, partially
No,
like
you can call
Milan
me
Panic.
naive. No, I'd like to be. I'd rather be called naive than anything else. The world belongs to positive people. Your question is philosophical. Believe me, all ideas which made this world, from prehistoric humans to today, were made by positive guys, not but negative. Now that's to start with just philosophical. Positivism is integral part of human beings. People go on Mars, you have rockets, you have all of this, we have in America. That's positive. If you don't want to go there, then you're negative. Just think where you belong. If you are that negative, there are places called mental institutions for very negative people because they're so depressed. Now this is terribly bad. But most of dictators, something wrong with them. So now, your other question is better. Would you defend your country? But of course. But of course. I mean, somebody. I don't believe in killing. I so don't believe because I've seen so much of it as a boy. I don't want to see my children or my grandchildren die. And I don't believe in killing other guy. But God help him if he tries to touch my son. And therefore, of course, you're justified to defend yourself. You must do that. The world is not perfect yet. I wish, and I hope one day there will be, when there will be no militaries. Whom are you going to fight already? I'm talking to Americans. You know how much we spend on budgets in America on weapons? Whom are we going to fight? Afghanistani? That's 3 Americans. 5. And if we get Russians to help, maybe we can get somewhere. But the experience with Russians was not so hot in that area either, as you know. So any of these problems being solved militarily is wrong. I think Iraqi war is wrong. I think Afghanistani war is wrong. I think every time we try to correct something with bombs is wrong. First, we have to explore everything, naive or not, with a different means of help. I think it's stupid for you people, intellectuals, to know that there is a law which you can't kill dictator. But to bomb and kill children, there is a law. You can do that. Can you believe, look at you, that you would allow world to have laws of order how to kill, but you can't kill dictator. You can't send a terrorist to kill them, which they call. Israelis do that a little bit on the side illegally. But you can't kill children in war games. So the war as a form of solution of differences is wrong. And I pray you heard me 10 times. It's wrong, naive or not, it's just plain wrong. But I am absolutely on your side. If somebody touches your mother, father, your kids, you must defend them against sick people. And I'll do too, even I don't believe in killing. So, naive answer, but it's very good one.
On philosophical question.
On a philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that, you have to answer that way, I think.
Sure. Well, any other questions? Okay, but please be closer to microphone.
Mr. Panic, if I understood your scheme of Russian integration correctly, well, you think that it's the following. So Russia integrates either in European Union or either in China as a resource base for them. Did I get you correctly? Is a raw material appendix. Was it your
A
idea?
few words about Russian integration policy.
Do I say that?
No, but you talked about Russian oil, Russian resources. So
Russian
as far as I
integration policies?
No. As far as I understood you, what you said, that you wanted Russia, well, it was your idea.
To be part of European Union?
Yes, to be part of the European Union, as a raw material appendix of each.
Raw material appendix. Explain.
Thank you very much.
Please? No, please help me. I want to answer your question. I know
Yes, sure.
you have something in your mind. Explain me.
Well, you don't understand the phrase raw material appendix, yeah?
Yeah, that I do not
So,
understand that. That's all right. Just explain.
So,
I don't understand many things, so that's just
well, yes, it's a source of oil, source of resources, natural resources.
natural that we should be.
So I mean nothing more.
No, here is what I think you're asking me. Would the reason for integration be natural resources of Russia? No. Oh, no, I think there are some positive things of Russia today. On percentage, you are more educated than many other countries. Except we don't know what to do with educated people. So system of education worked, but system of how to employ educated people for productivity did not. So you have excess educated people, which are not producing for the better of Russia or anybody else. So many of Russians are ending up in America or all over the place because they don't find themselves in the country they like, they live with them, their language and everything. It's not easy to be an immigrant, I tell you that. I am one. You have to change. You have no family to go. You don't have it's very difficult to leave the country where you are from. We still live in our little families. So I think that Russia is not to integrate into Europe because of their resources. I think Russia has much more to offer, and I just gave you one thing called educated people. And educated people could find many jobs, or the Western concept could bring potential of work here. I try to do that. We employed thousands of Russians. Paid salary all the time, when 20 years ago many companies did not pay salaries. We paid every month salary, understanding that these people need to feed their children. So there are many reasons why, other than those two, that Russia should join. Many. Future of Russia depends to live in world community, because you're too big to live alone, or too small. You decide which one.
Thank you very much. Sergei Petrovich, what do you think? We do or we don't?
Вот мы здесь посовещались втроем и решили, что самым хорошим вопросом был вопрос о смысле жизни. Это я вам как журналист журналистам говорю. И второе, я сейчас понял, откуда во мне столько наивности от моего соседа слева. Это он меня научил верить в победу, неизбежную победу добра над злом. За это ему большое спасибо.
Спасибо большое.
Человек, который встал с нечищенными ботинками на институтскую мебель, это всемирно известный мастер фотографии Юрий Абрамочкин. Человек, который первый снимал Юрия Гагарина, и на кремлевских приемах Хрущев наливал ему водку.
Ботинки английские.
Давай. давай.
Чистить каждый день. Вот, знаете, поближе, покомпактнее.
Сумку может быть со стола.
Вот так немножечко, как бы с улыбочкой, да, так, как в таких случаях.
Студенты, они должны показывать свои сумки, автомобили, лейблы на джинсах. Спасибо.
Спасибо.
Спасибо.